The Brazilian butt lift, or BBL for short, made famous by Kim K, who inspired headlines such as Alan Carr didn't wash his hands for a week after touching Kim Kardashian's bum, to being in the best bum in the world debate. It's pretty easy to see how women and men perhaps got fixated on this image of a large butt. The main difference, however, is that Kim K is a billionaire. She can get the most expensive surgeon in LA to carry out any surgical procedure that are above board and safe. Not some random dude from a random ass surgery in a random ass place with no reviews and real training. Unfortunately, however, we don't all have the same type of money Kim K does. However, humans will continue to be humans and want what they can't have and see other people having. It's kind of a vicious circle if you ask me. Girls see Kim K or other celebs with their enlarged butts, see all the attention it gathers them and think, right, this is the move. This is how I get the attention I desire. And as I say, sometimes this can come from the wrong place, leading to the procedure going seriously wrong. This is the rise of BBL related deaths and the case of the mother and daughter BBL killers. So this was brought to my mind after consistently seeing news articles of dad kills himself after daughter, 29, dies from botched Brazilian butt lift. Grandmother of 11 dies after botched BBL. Grandmother of 11. What the actual fuck? Grandmother of 11. Mum of 3 dies after botched Brazilian butt lift cosmetic surgery in Turkey. The list is endless, and I mean endless. You could scroll on the internet all day looking to how these surgeries have went Pete Tong, terribly wrong. What on earth are these so-called surgeons doing? It's an absolute hatchet, fucked, botched job, clearly. Are these people carrying out these operations even qualified in the slightest to be cutting and slicing people up? So, the Brazilian butt lift is apparently the most dangerous cosmetic procedure in the world, with 1 in 3,000 who undergo the procedure ending up dead. This is a stat that is surely going to rise, given the events in the past year or two as well. So does this not convince people that this shit is not a good idea? So, how exactly does this procedure work? The American Board of Cosmetic Surgery, they say that a Brazilian butt lift is a specialised fat transfer procedure that augments the size and shape of the buttocks without implants. Excess fat is removed from the hips, abdomen, lower back or thighs with liposuction, and a portion of this fat is then strategically injected into the buttocks. Sometimes, however, they can be injected via other methods that don't involve liposuction. There's been cases of people getting their butts injected with peanut butter, silicone, and sometimes even motor oil. Imagine this one day, you've just had your BBL done, you go to have a seat, suddenly peanut butter is leaking from your ass. Talk about a minter. Imagine you're wearing grey sweatpants and you have to walk to the toilet with peanut butter dripping all over your ass. Fuck that. So essentially, if it's done right, they suck fat out of other parts of your body and inject it into your ass, making it like a peach, or sometimes not so much like a peach. Sometimes it can look more like a floppy bag of potatoes. So with there being so much demand for this procedure, you already know there's bound to be some fugazi fakes out there, like anything. Jordan 1's desirable and expensive. Solution for some people is to get a cheap fake pair from Panda Buy or Alibaba. Rolex as well. Desirable and expensive again. Some people will just get a fake one instead and save themselves thousands of pounds. BBL for some, again, is desirable and expensive, so they go to a dodgy ass surgeon. I can understand people buying fake clothes and watches as they're probably not going to kill you, but when it's going to involve cutting you open and administering drugs, I think the better option is to get it done properly or don't get it done at all. Nonetheless, people are still continuing to get them, and it's continuing to get deadlier and deadlier. Carissa Rajpal was a 26-year-old Los Angeles resident who was an aspiring adult film actress and a social media influencer. She moved to the States all the way from South Africa to pursue a career in the adult film industry in 2016, alongside her newlywed husband Marco. She was quickly transformed by Los Angeles, influenced by the allure of the LA party scene. Her husband would say she started to follow those fucking Kardashians, all those plastic bitches. I told her those are fake, they don't exist, it's just plastic and lies. Yes, that is a quote directly from her husband. So Carissa, she would end up stripping at Los Angeles parties before eventually travelling to legal brothels in Nevada. Carissa, being in the adult film industry / legal brothel industry, she would see other adult movie actresses with these big ass butts getting all these views and would say, that's what I need to jumpstart my career. She started off with plumping up her lips, getting fillers before eventually saying, fuck it, I'm going all in, I'm getting the BBL. So Carissa, I guess you could say that she had more of a reason to get the surgery done, I guess. She's wanting to use this to increase her appeal to prospective clients and boost her presence online. So she starts browsing around looking for potential surgeons in Los Angeles to carry out the most dangerous operation in the world. She browses and she browses. Now briefly looking online for 2 seconds, I could see the average price range was 8k to 16k, 7k to 24k. The range varies, but you're looking at well above 10k on average, I would say. Nonetheless, it's not cheap, so it's probably best to do some window shopping, check Trustpilot, etc, etc. Eventually, Carissa, she finds a surgeon, quote, quote, a surgeon that she likes and is happy to do the work. She's winning. These people, they offered to do the work for just $4,000 and she was sold. The BBL was all lined up. The pair that were going to carry out the procedure were mother and daughter duo Libby Adam, age 51, and her daughter Alicia Galaz, age 23. How they met each other we will talk about later, but the operation was set and it was going to be carried out on the 15th of October 2019 at a friend's house. A friend who had actually tried to talk her out of the procedure, but she was having none of it. She was set on the BBL. So leading up to the 15th of October 2019, she would successfully have surgery on 2 other occasions. Well, I don't know if you could say successfully. Well, it didn't kill her, so make of that what you will. In total, before a third fatal meeting. So Libby and Alicia arrive at this friend of Carissa's house around 2 p.m. and they would take Carissa to the bedroom. And no, not to get freaky. This is when Carissa would take this video, the last ever video she would take alive. The mother and daughter surgeon, quote, surgeon, duo began injecting silicone into Carissa's butt, only it wasn't just her butt. They would end up piercing a muscle and the liquid silicone would end up entering her bloodstream. Talk about a shit show. So Libby and Alicia, they can now tell that something is going seriously wrong. They yell at the host whose gaff they were at to help bring a glass of sugar water because that's a cure for everything. But really, it does actually help sometimes. It raises blood sugar levels and improves bodily function. And no, this is not the cue to go eat that bar of chocolate now. So her friend whose house the operation was getting the work done comes bursting in. Upon entering, he sees Chris on the bed, all pale and struggling to breathe. All around, she's in a very, very bad shape. He goes over and she's close to passing out. The surgeons tell him she just needs some sugar, it's all good, it's under control. He goes and finds the sweet treats in the house that he can, consisting of chocolate and cola. So after he returns with the chocolate and Coca-Cola, he tells the surgeon duo, look, fuck this, something is clearly wrong. Carissa, she has to go to hospital. Which the surgeon duo replied with, no, she'll be fine. Talk about being a bit deluded. She is clearly not fine. So Carissa eventually passes out and is given CPR by the person whose house the surgery was going down, with the 2 surgeons eventually calling 911 before getting the fuck up out of there. When the duo left, they decided to take all their equipment with them, so when the emergency service eventually arrived, they had no idea what the fuck had just happened here. They just walk in and see Carissa sitting there passed out, trying to eat chocolate, Coca-Cola. You can just imagine what they're thinking. I don't even know what you'd think. It's clearly a fucking mess. All that they knew was that she had been injected and had some type of procedure done on her, which came from the host of the house, so even they didn't fully know what the fuck was going down in there. Carissa was eventually put into hospital, and less than 3 hours after getting the injections, she would be dead. The medical examiner found silicone oozing from her puncture wounds internally, in the muscle of the buttocks. With the report saying that she officially died of acute cardiopulmonary dysfunction caused by the silicone injections, it determined the manner of her death to be homicide. Now that is what I call a mouthful. Try trying to pronounce it after 3 pints, you will struggle. The police, of course, would go after the botched surgeons, who neither of had any medical licenses, so I'm going to stop calling them surgeons from now on. The police, they would have a search warrant, so they'd look at their house and they would end up finding tens of thousands of dollars in cash. These tens of thousands of dollars, they had been made from their hatchet surgery jobs, likely. Following the news of Carissa's death, around 100 people have come forward to say that they or a loved one had been messed up in some way following the procedure at the hands of the pair. Investigators believe that they were running a national operation, potentially even international. There's definite victims from Miami all the way to Toronto, so just how did they get so much clients? Libya Dam, she has a bit of clout behind her, you see, being a prominent figure in the LA party scene and having more than 11,000 followers on Instagram. And she's private, so I couldn't get a snoop or include any photos from there. Adam, as a socialite and social media figure who would be heavily involved in the glam life. So she had a bit of clout behind her, let's just say that. She was known in the LA, the surgery industry, kind of that scene. She used her status online to lure in her clients. So Carissa would use her clout to calm down her concerned male friend who was trying to talk her out the procedure, telling her that the woman is famous for doing these things, that she had tons of customers who she dealt with. Everyone knows her. She's a celebrity on Instagram. So of course, the police took notice after this. They actually had been informed of the duo's botched surgery attempts in the past, but took no action when Laura Moreno attempted to make a police report in January 2014 after nearly dying from a botched BBL herself. This time, however, there would be arrests. They'd be detained and taken into custody on the 5th of August 2021 and held on $2 million bail. They were both out on bond in just 2 days. A couple of days later, Adam was actually caught out on the town, celebrating her freedom, even being caught in a steak restaurant, bragging about the fact that she was freed, while the news reports said that she was in the jail, as she was served a nice, big, juicy steak. Talk about zero fucks given. Since the death of Carissa Rajpal way back in 2019, the trial and all the other strings attached, this would last all the way up to this year. Yes, that's right, all the way to 2024, nearly 5 whole years after the fatal surgery happening in October 2019. The outcome, you ask? It was decided that after a whole 7 hours of hard, intense debate and deliberation, that the pair would be found guilty of ... involuntary manslaughter. Initially, the mother and daughter duo faced a second-degree murder charge, which carries a far, far harder sentence than that of involuntary manslaughter. The option of involuntary manslaughter was available for the jury to decide if they believed that the mother-daughter duo did not show any malice in the incident, aka it wasn't intentional, but they still found them guilty for the death. So they went for the lesser of the sentences in involuntary manslaughter. They were also found guilty of charges of performing a medical procedure without having any sort of license. Ultimately, the silicone that was injected into the buttocks ended up in Carissa's bloodstream, killing her in the end. Their attorney would say in court, "Do you think killing people is a way to build a successful business?" They wanted to do a good job. So I looked and I looked, but unfortunately I could not find any sentencing details online for the pair anywhere. But looking at the standard sentencing for involuntary manslaughter, in California you're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4 years in a state prison with a fine of up to $10,000. So you can expect them to be out of jail within 5 years max, I would say. But I'm no expert and I'm definitely not a judge. So if there's been any changes since this video was uploaded, then please let me know in the comments. So for me, here there's 2 lessons and takeaways from this whole fucked up story. Lesson number 1 is love yourself. Your bum probably looks great as it is. And second, don't trust amateur plastic surgeons just because they have a bit of clout online. I certainly wouldn't trust an amateur pilot to fly a beat-down plane across the Pacific Ocean when I'm off on holiday, especially if they don't have any type of certification or qualification behind them. Zero chance, nada.